Ibanez RG 550 purple neon. If you've been following this YouTube channel, I think I've been doing this for about 5 years now, and I'm constantly being asked, what is the purple guitar in the background? Sometimes people ask what is the pink guitar. It is not a pink guitar, it is a purple. Bought this in 1992. Maxed out my credit card. Bought it in Newcastle. It was Sounds Live. Also bought a Zoom 2020 to go with it. I've since, I think I give that away to a friend a couple of years ago, and then bought the 4040, which I'm plugged into now. If you can, it's a bit. You can just say that there. So I'm plugged into that, and it's a little bit nostalgic plugging this in again because it's been hanging up. Now, I bought this in 1992. Ibanez are quite an interesting company with quite a lot of history. Through the 1970s, Ibanez kind of made some of the lawsuit models guitars, like copying Fender Stratocasters, a lot of like Les Pauls and that kind of thing. You might remember like the Ibanez Roadster, which is quite collectible. Then suddenly in the mid 80s to the early 90s, they kind of exploded onto the scene. The likes of Steve Vai had the Ibanez Gem, and then you had like the Ibanez, there was a 7-string Gem that used to have the monkey grip in. Joe Satriani was using them. Seemed to be everybody of that particular era used Ibanez guitars. They had the very recognisable headstock shape with the Ibanez logo, which is very recognisable, and very much like the hair metal, all these different guitarists. When I bought this one, I went in to buy a Charvel, a Jackson Charvel black guitar. I think I'd seen Megadeth using one, and that kind of took me fancy. Tried it out, didn't like the feel of it. The guy in the shop said, try this one. And my initial thoughts were that I didn't think the maple neck went with the purple body. Had the Floyd Rose trem. You can see the pick guard is shiny. You can see yourself in it if you want to admire your hairstyle. A couple of years ago, I replaced the pickups because I felt they were a bit muddy. I put a vintage DiMarzio pickup in this one, and I can't remember this one. It was a more modern one. But they give it a much brighter sound. This one in particular, turn the volume on. Which I like the sound of, a lot punchier than the original ones. I'd first seen the RG 550, I don't know if you remember Blue Saraceno. I think he was about a year older than me, so way back in 89, 1990, he's still been pretty young, about 19, 20, recorded an album called Never Look Back. Brilliant album. If you've never heard it, check it out. It's all guitar instrumental stuff, brilliant. He went on, he actually played for Poison at one point, and he'd had an RG 550 on the front cover of that, and it had more of a natural feel to the neck. It's a wizard neck. I like that it's quite broad but very thin. So wizard as in because you can play a lot quicker, so I found that a lot more comfortable. This is probably the first decent proper guitar that I bought, and mixed with my Zoom 2020 at the time, felt like I had all the gear. The things I was learning on it, because it's got the Floyd Rose trem, I kind of avoided all the Led Zeppelin auto-tune stuff, because you obviously with the Floyd Rose you're locked in. So I learned a lot of like the extreme type of stuff. I'm a Wholehearted from earlier. So that was the kind of stuff at the time, the stuff like Satch Boogie. on this guitar learning Paganini Caprice 24. I think it was Michael Fath was a guitarist. It was in a guitar magazine, how to play it. I think I learned to play that all the way through at this point. That's me attempting to play it. Not very well. Technique needs to be worked on there, but I remember learning that as a kid, and I actually played all them arpeggios without actually knowing what any of them were. Learned them all off Guitar Tab. I mean, you get older, you start realising how the what chords they actually are. Interesting thing with Ibanez, I bought this guitar around about 1992. I would have been 20 years old, and it was just as like Nirvana was starting to come out. So the Ibanez, these style of guitars, was suddenly almost overnight out of date. Everybody was using like Fender Jaguars and them kind of guitars to be like Kurt Cobain. Then around about 1995, especially in this country, you had like the Britpop scene had seemed to take over, where you had like Oasis and Blur. I mean, Oasis were famous for using like Epiphone guitars. All of a sudden everybody was buying Epiphone Gibson Les Pauls with the affordable guitar to buy. Ibanez had an attempt at kind of keeping up with that kind of style guitars. I remember in all the Guitar for the Practicing Musician magazines at the time, all these guitarists had been playing speed metal, the likes of George Lynch were all of a sudden, you know, using more retro guitars and turning the back on speed metal and doing more like bluesy stuff. A lot of bands, the metal bands at the time, were kind of struggling, and a lot of them went by the wayside or changed. But round about the late 90s, early 2000s, with a lot of bands like Dragon Force, suddenly the Ibanez kind of made a bit of a comeback, and I think this one, the RG 550, it was a 30th year anniversary edition, came out a few years ago, which would cost about $1,000. So it made us feel quite old to think that I actually had an original, and I think they had the Gem, which seems that had a 30th anniversary edition. And Ibanez seemed to make a bit of a comeback, and these guitars are a lot more popular than what they used to be. So, have you got an Ibanez? What are your memories of the guitars in the late 80s, early 90s? Let me know in the comments. As always, thank you for watching.